Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is now calling for a national right to repair law. Now, what is that? Well, I'll get into the details here. Now, basically, though, this is an effort to help farmers in the heartland. Basically, keep their costs down. And so, let me get into this legislation here from Vice. Sanders' plan involves using antitrust legislation to break up large agriculture firms, reform patent law to protect farmers from seed patents, and add a national right to repair legislation that would ensure farmers be able to repair their own equipment. Now, think about this for a second. I know, look, a lot of you probably are not farmers in the heartland, okay? But it's kind of insane that we have a system right now where we're not allowed to repair our own stuff. Stuff that we purchased with our own money, we're actually not allowed to make our own repairs to. And think about how crazy that is. In fact, the Sanders plan said, quote, in rural America today, farmers can't even repair their own tractors or other equipment because of the greed of companies like John Deere. When we are in the White House, we will pass a national right to repair law that gives every farmer in America full rights over the machinery they buy. And again, we buy something and it's not even ours. And that's insane. A complete insanity. Now, Elizabeth Warren, actually, I said Bernie Sanders had come out with this today, but as usual, at least as of late, Elizabeth Warren's already been like there. She was there back in March. Now, in a post on Medium, she wrote, farmers should be able to repair their own equipment or choose between multiple repair shops. So props to Elizabeth Warren. And also strange props to someone else. And that would be Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, who also called for right to repair legislation focused specifically on farm equipment. Now, one thing about this is that this is very specific. This is very narrow, right? I would love to see something like this expanded to things that are not just farm equipment. For example, your iPhone, right? And your iPhone breaks, you can't fix it yourself. Or not even if it breaks, what if it needs a new battery, right? No, you got to take it to the repair shop and it costs a lot of money, etc. If you knew how to fix that and could get the parts, then why wouldn't you be able to fix it? Well, they've made it so that you're not able to. Apple wants to keep selling you new iPhones or have you bring in existing iPhones, which are very expensive to fix. That's why Apple has made it really, really difficult for people to do that. I mean, get a load of the steps that they've taken to stop you from doing it. They killed touch functionality on phones when aftermarket screens are installed. I mean, that's the like. Okay, we're to make it so that our phones don't work if you don't have an original screen from our stores with someone who has basically runs an Apple stores or Apple affiliated. We're not going to allow them to fix that. We're going to make it so that it doesn't work if you fix it, even if there's nothing functionally wrong with it. I mean, it's crazy. Not only that, but they've lobbied extensively against right to repair legislation. Now, as far as farming equipment goes, farmers have been dealing with this for quite some time. At least, the last 2 decades? Thanks to a tight control of firmware via digital rights management tools, John Deere has a monopoly on the equipment it makes. Farmers with John Deere tractors have been resorting to hacking to their equipment and lobbying laws to basically break up that manufacturer's repair monopoly. So when I talk about right to repair, farmers were there for quite some time, but no one else has been. In fact, I didn't even know this was a thing. I mean, I knew that there were issues with Apple, but you never really think about that. But now we're starting to. I mean, we have 3 presidential candidates. To give them a lot of credit, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and even doofy John Hickenlooper are like, hey, no, this is an issue. And so I got to give them credit for bringing up this issue and kind of making us think about it. People, if they pay money to buy something, they should have the full rights to be able to do what they want with that product as long as they don't break any laws, right? Repairing your own stuff should not be against the law. So now Sanders, Warren, and Hickenlooper have all publicly pledged to work to end the monopolies by passing these national right to repair laws, and that's great. Going after these monopolies using antitrust laws, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. And if you are against it, if you're against the ability to repair your own stuff that you pay money for, it kind of shows how much of a complete corporate tool you are. So more presidential candidates. If you want to try to maybe get people in the Midwest to, support your candidacy, as well as show that you were not on the side of giant corporations, then maybe you should support something like this. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.